Christmas Eve always makes my town feel like it's holding its breath. By sundown, every porch is lit in warm colors. Every window has a tree glowing behind it. And the roads go quiet, quiet in that special way that isn't peaceful, just empty. The kind of empty that makes your headlights feel like you're the only thing alive on the street that year. I was working the late shift for a local courier service. Not the big-name kind, just a scrappy outfit that delivered anything from last-minute gifts to medication to I forgot the pie emergencies. I didn't mind it. The tips were good on Christmas Eve, and my apartment was too silent to sit in alone. Around 9:40 p.m., my dispatcher, Marcy, pinged my phone. One last run. Address: 17 Pine Barrow Road. Package: small box, nitrogen, return. Note: leave at door. Do not knock. I stared at the address long enough for my screen to dim. Pine Barrow Road wasn't in town. It wasn't even really a road so much as a ribbon of cracked pavement that cut into the woods behind the old quarry. People used it as a shortcut in summer, bin in winter. You avoided it unless you liked getting stuck or seeing deer eyes floating in your brights. I called Marcy. Please tell me that's a typo. Nope, she said. I could hear TV noise in the background at her place. Laughter and clinking glasses. Bye. It's prepaid. It's flagged as urgent. And it's the last one. Then you're done. Who lives out there? A pause. The TV laughter seemed to fade. I don't know, she said, quieter. It's a new account. Why the don't knock part? Probably dogs, she said, too quickly. Just drop it and go. I should have turned the job down. Christmas Eve or not, you're allowed to say no. But my rent didn't care about holiday vibes. So I sighed, zipped my jacket, and grabbed the box from the shelf. It was light. No label. No return address. The cardboard looked new, but the tape was wrong. Not clear packing, tape-old brown tape, the kind that leaves stringy glue behind. Somebody had wrapped it like they didn't want it opening by accident. Or like they didn't want it opening at all. I set it in the passenger seat. And for a second, just a second, I thought I heard something inside shift. I froze with my hand still on the doorframe. Then, from my radio, a Christmas station crackled and launched into a bright, cheery carol. I laughed at myself under my breath, got in, and pulled out. The first 10 minutes were normal. Streetlights gave way to darkness. Houses thinned. The road narrowed and began to snake between tall, bare trees whose branches reached over the asphalt like black ribs. Snow hadn't fallen yet, but the air had that sharp, metallic bite that meant it was coming. My windshield fogged at the edges. The heater hummed. The carol on the radio shifted to another, older, slower, with a choir that sounded like it had been recorded in a church. That's when I noticed the box again. It had rotated slightly on the seat, as if the car turning had nudged it, except I'd wedged it between the seat and the console. It shouldn't have moved. I reached over, pressed it back into place, and felt the tape under my fingers. Warm. Not warm like sunlight, warm like skin. I snatched my hand away, staring at the box as if it had blinked at me. "Okay," I muttered. "Nope, just no." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. I let it ring out. It buzzed again immediately. Unknown number. I hit decline. It buzzed a third time. This time, the screen didn't show a number. It showed no caller ID, and below it, the faintest vibration stuttered against my palm like a nervous heartbeat. I kept my eyes on the road and forced my voice calm. "Not tonight." I tossed the phone into the queue folder and turned the radio up. The choir rose, and for a moment it sounded almost pretty until I realized something that made my stomach sink. They weren't singing the carol. I recognized they were singing it wrong. The melody was there, but the timing dragged like someone walking with a limp. And the words were close enough to fool you from a distance. But if you listened, they weren't praising anything. They were counting softly, sweetly, like a lullaby you'd hum to a child while doing something you didn't want them to see. I switched stations. Static. Another. Station static. Another static. Then, through the static, a single voice slipped in, clear as someone whispering directly into my ear. "Don't knock." My hands tightened on the wheel so hard my knuckles burned. I slammed the radio off. The sudden silence in the car felt heavy, like the air changed density. And then I heard it. Not the radio, not my phone. A faint sound coming from outside somewhere, out in the black trees, singing a single human voice, pin and distant, carrying over the frozen brush. I hit the brakes hard enough that my seatbelt locked. The car rocked to a stop, engine idling, headlights pouring into the empty road. The singing continued. It wasn't close. It didn't feel like it was right beside me, but it felt aimed at me, like a spotlight, like it knew exactly where I was. I swallowed, mouth suddenly dry. My eyes scanned the tree line on both sides, looking for movement, looking for anything that made sense. Nothing, only snow-dusted branches, and the dark beyond. The song stopped for a long moment. The only sound was my engine and my own breathing. Then my phone lit up again. This time, it wasn't a call, it was a text. "Unknown, you're early. Unknown, if you're early, you'll see him. Unknown, don't look at the CAROLERS. My throat tightened. "What, Carola?" I whispered. The Q-folder phone buzzed again, like it was pleased I'd spoken. "Unknown, leave it at the door. Unknown, do not knock. Unknown, do not speak. Unknown, he likes it when you speak." I stared at the screen until my eyes watered. Then I did the only thing my brain could manage. I put the car in drive and kept going. Pine Barrow Road sloped downward as it approached the quarry area, where the trees opened just enough for wind to cut through like a blade. My headlights caught a road sign coated in frost pine barrow. Arduous. If the universe wanted to make sure I couldn't pretend I was lost. I turned. The road narrowed further, becoming one lane with shallow ditches on both sides. The woods pressed in. The darkness looked thicker here, less like night and more like a substance. Then I saw the house. Not a house, really an old cabin, hunched and sagging, set back from the road behind a crooked fence. No porch lights, no glowing windows, no tree, no wreath, but there were Christmas decorations. They were just wrong. A string of lights hung across the porch, but only a few bulbs still worked, dim and yellow like sickly teeth. A plastic Santa leaned against the railing like it had fainted, and in the yard stood 3 figures that made my foot hover over the snowmen. Only there wasn't enough snow to build them. They weren't made of snow at all. They were made of something, wrapped in white fabric, tied tight with cord, shaped into lumpy bodies and round heads. Each one had a face drawn on with black markers, miles stretched too long, eyes to round, and all 3 were turned toward the driveway, toward me, like they'd been waiting. I pulled in anyway, because sometimes your body keeps moving even when your brain is screaming. The gravel crunched under my tires, loud in the stillness. My headlights swept across the porch. There was a package already sitting at the door. I hadn't noticed it at first. Same size as mine. Same brown tape, and beside it, a note pinned under a stone. I got out of the car with the box clutched against my chest like it could protect me. The cold hit my face hard. The woods smelled like wet bark and iron. My boots crunched on gravel as I stepped toward the porch. My breath came out in white bursts, and then, from somewhere behind me, maybe the tree line, maybe the shadows between the snow, many heard it again, singing "Close now," right behind my shoulder, a single voice, soft and steady, humming a carol I knew, but still singing it wrong. I didn't turn around. I stared at the cabin door. The note on the porch fluttered once in a breeze that didn't touch the trees. I set my box down beside the other package, and that's when I saw what was written on the note, written in thick black ink that looked like it had soaked through the paper. Thank you for bringing it back. Now knocked up, my stomach dropped, because my delivery instructions had said the exact opposite, and in the porch window dark glass, reflecting my headlights, I saw my own face staring back at me. But behind my reflection, standing just inside the cabin, where there shouldn't have been any light at all, was a tall shaped, motionless watching, and the humming behind me stopped, replaced by a whisper, inches from my ear. Knock. The word knock slid into my ear like a breath that didn't belong to anyone alive. I didn't move. My hand hovered inches from the cabin door, fingers stiff, frozen in place. Every instinct I had screamed that the moment I obeyed, something irreversible would happen, like crossing a line drawn so thin you don't see it until you're bleeding on the other side, behind the door. The tall shape in the window didn't move. Behind me, whatever had whispered stopped breathing. I stood there long enough that my legs began to shake. Slowly, slowly, I lowered my hand and took one step back. The gravel crunched. The whisper came again, sharper this time, impatient. Knock. I turned. There was nothing there. No carolers. No figures between the trees. Just the 3 fake snowmen in the yard. Their marker smiles stretched wide under my headlights, except one of them had moved. I knew it had. The one closest to the porch was angled slightly now. Its drawn eyes no longer aimed at the driveway. They were aimed at me. I backed up another step, heart hammering so hard it made my vision pulse. The porch light flickered once, then died completely, plunging the cabin into near darkness. From inside the house, something thumped. Not a footstep, more like something heavy shifting its weight. The door handle twitched. I ran. I don't remember my feet hitting the ground. I don't remember turning around. I only remember the sudden burning in my lungs and the desperate need to get back to the car like it was the last safe thing left in the world. The singing started again as I ran. Not one voice. Many. Soft at first, like a group warming up, then louder, surrounding me. They weren't in the trees. They weren't on the road. They were everywhere, coming from the darkness itself, weaving between the notes of a Christmas hymn I'd heard my whole life, but never understood until that moment. The lyrics were wrong. They always had been. I reached the car, bumbled the door open, and threw myself inside. I slammed the lock down just as something struck the roof. Hard. The whole car jolted. I screamed and ducked, pert in my throat, hands scrabbling for the keys. Another impact, this time on the hood. The metal dented inward slightly, and I saw the shape of a hand pressed down from above. Not a human hand. Too long, too many joints. I turned the key. The engine roared to life, and I floored the gas. The car lurched backward, gravel spraying. Whatever was on the hood slid off with a scraping sound that made my teeth hurt. I didn't look. I couldn't. I reversed until the car hit the road, then spun the wheel and shot forward, tearing down Pine Barrow Road like something was chasing me, because something was in my rearview mirror. The cabin vanished into the trees, but the singing followed. It came through the vents, through the windows, through my own head. The choir grew louder the farther I drove, swelling until it drowned out the engine, until the sound vibrated in my bones. My phone buzzed violently in the cuff holder. I didn't want to look. I did anyway. Unknown. You left it incomplete. Unknown. That makes him curious. Unknown curiosity ruins Christmas. The road twisted sharply ahead. I barely slowed down, tires skidding as the trees blurred past. "What do you want?" I yelled, voice cracking. The phone buzzed again. Unknown. What you already brought. Unknown. What was taken. Unknown. What remembers being warm. Thought of the box. The warmth under the tape. The way it had shifted. A horrible realization crept in. Cold and heavy. I hadn't delivered something to that house. I had brought something back. The radio snapped on by itself. The choir was gone. A single voice filled the car Nowler. Gentle, almost kind. "You're doing very well," it said. "Most don't run. Most knock." My headlights flickered. The road ahead seemed longer, somehow, stretching out, refusing to end. "You forgot your gift," the voice continued. "Everyone brings a gift on Christmas Eve. I didn't take anything." I sobbed. "I swear." A soft chuckle crackled through the speakers. "You took time. You took warmth. You took a piece, small enough not to notice." The dashboard lights went dark. So did my headlights. I screamed as the car plunged into blackness. Still moving, still accelerating, guided by nothing but momentum and terror. Then dash light. The headlights flared back to life, illuminating the road just as it straightened. And there, standing directly in my path, was the tall shape that filled the road from ditch to ditch. Too thin, too tall. Its limbs bent the wrong way, like it had been folded up and unfolded again without care. Its head brushed the low branches overhead. Where its face should have been was a smooth, pale surface, except for a mouth wide and smiling, singing. I swerved. The car clipped the ditch, spun, and slammed sideways into a tree. The impact knocked the air from my lungs and painted my vision white. For a moment, everything was silent. No singing, no voice, just the ticking of my engine and the crackle of cooling metal. I lay there, dazed, waiting for the pain to catch up with me. It never did. Instead, I heard footsteps crunching slowly toward the car. .1.at.i.time. I squeezed my eyes shut, tears leaking out anyway. "Please," I whispered. "Please." The footsteps stopped. The car door handle lifted. Didn't open, just tested. Then the voice came again. This time, not from the radio. Not from my phone, from the back seat. "You forgot the rule," it said gently. "No knocking, no speaking." Cold breath brushed the back of my neck. "You spoke." I felt something slide across my shoulder, light as a scarf dot, then dash nothing dot. I woke up in a hospital bed, Christmas morning. Sunlight spilled through the window, bright and harmless. A nurse noticed my eyes open and smiled, wished me a Merry Christmas like it was any other day. They told me my car had been found crashed on Pine Barrow Road just after midnight. No sign of anyone else. No footprints in the snow except mine. They said I was lucky. I quit the courier job that day. I moved out of town a week later. I don't take night drives anymore. I don't answer unknown numbers. And every Christmas Eve, no matter where I am, I turn off my phone at sunset dot, because sometimes, just before midnight, when the world goes quiet and the lights glow warm in the windows, I hear singing outside, soft patient and I swear, through the glass I can see 3 snowmen standing in the dark, and one empty space beside them, waiting for me to come home and knock.